The third reason, and this is really getting now into sort of Loveworks thinking more specifically, is that people are starving for mystery, sensuality, and intimacy. And these are what we call the 3 secrets of Loveworks. If you look at Loveworks, if you look at brands that sort of test successfully as Loveworks and get up into this quadrant, they tend to possess one or all of these 3 secrets, okay? They're just these intangible elements that seem to separate mere brands from Loveworks. Mystery, you know, mystery is about mystique, right? It's not Agatha Christie mystery, it's about mystique. And some brands have that, they have that mystique, you know. Apple, I don't know how big a factor it is, but Steve Jobs and the fact that he was behind the company and he made the first one in his garage, it makes it different somehow, right? It makes it different, it gives it mystique. The fact that Coca-Cola is the original cola, and some people said, you know, the original recipe had cocaine in it, or they invented Santa Claus because the first depiction of Santa in its current heritage appeared in a Coke ad, true story. It gives these brands mystique and mystery. Brands with heritage have mystery. You can create mystery. Sometimes using celebrities helps you do that, but mystery is a big part of Loveworks. And it's a big part of romance. It's a big part of love in general, right? Sensuality, this is a bit obvious. We're talking about love. And sensuality is about appealing to the 5 senses, okay? Sight, smell, touch, taste, sound. I think that's them. Starbucks is a really interesting example because Starbucks is an experience, right? It's the whole thing is thought through as creating a quality or a premium coffee experience. The lighting, the music, the smells, the kind of gallery of you know, different beans that they have, the feel of the chairs, they really work the sensuality. And it's a really big, powerful part of their story. And they've never even advertised, but you have this crystal clear feeling of their brand. So appealing to the senses is a big part of being a Lovework. I think about McDonald's and all the work they used to do on the smell of the French fries. That moment where you smell McDonald's French fries, you're like, oh yeah, that's appealing to our senses. So a lot of times we can celebrate this in our products and it really helps people go to a different level of connection with them. Can you play the video, please? Right. Oh, hang on there. Intimacy is another quality of Loveworks, and it kind of goes without. We've got premature video release there. You got it under control there? All right. Intimacy is a bit of an obvious one when we're talking about love. We're talking about connections. We're talking about understanding people and empathy. And Loveworks have stronger insights. They get people better. If you think about Apple, which is a Lovework for I'm sure a lot of people in this room, it just feels like they get what you want more than the other people that make products like that. I don't know, it does to me. They get it. And that's a big part of building Loveworks is insight, of course. A really interesting case is one of Saatchi Russia's cases for Dixie, where they wanted to create an emotional connection not just with their consumers, but with their employees, because they wanted the people that work there to feel better about Dixie, so that when they gave you their change, they didn't kind of look away and throw it like that, and they smiled, and so on. So they wanted to create an emotional connection with both their employees and their consumers, which is really smart, especially when you're in retail. And they built their brand around being a good neighbor. So they said, we're going to be the good neighbor to the people in our area, because that's what Dixie is about. It's a local store that has everything that you need in your area, and they elevated to that. And it's been very successful. Okay, now you can play that. Ah.
The
fourth reason that I think love is more important and more effective today now than it was in the past, I think people need heroes more today than ever in the past. And I think brands and corporations have to increasingly start to behave like heroes, okay? I think we understand, particularly in a place like Moscow, that there's people are disappointed in general with government and corporations, and they're starting to expect more. The more successful a society becomes, the more wealthy people become, the less they take the government shit, because that's a luxury. It's a luxury to care about being treated a certain way. And it shouldn't be, but it is. And I think what you're seeing more and more in the world is that people are demanding more. They're expecting more from big corporations and government. Because you think, if you're a big corporation and you've got a competitor that's exactly like you, and I can choose from 20 options of what kind of paper to buy, I might as well buy paper from the company that's doing something good, that's behaving well. So it's a really tangible, important insight in the world today. You know, and we're working with the city of Moscow, and we were part of the design of the new transit system, card system, the Troika card. And it's part of a bigger program that is all about improving, just getting around the city, trying to improve the traffic situation. And things like these bikes that we've seen around town, I mean, these are opportunities for brands and companies to step up and be part of it, to get involved. The fastest way to get somebody to fall in love with you is to be helpful and to do that, go that extra mile and do more. And it's just, there's lots of obvious opportunities just in Moscow alone for brands to get involved and do something good for Muscovites. I think the trust factor for corporations and the sort of sense of big companies and how they behave, I'm not sure it's at an all-time low, but it's still pretty low. A lot of you would have read about this factory that crashed in Bangladesh. I can't remember how many died, but it was over 1,000. And what happened was it got out that this factory was completely mismanaged. They knew that the roof wasn't safe, and that the people that were working there were making clothes for a lot of famous brands. So when people found that out, they're like, okay, great, so these people's lives are at risk so that I can look a little bit better and have a nice t-shirt. You know, it's not gonna fly. And I think I can't emphasize enough how important it is for every company, for every brand to be conscious of the fact that they need to do the right thing. They need to be transparent and open about the way they do business, and they need to take responsibility, because people will find out every time in this day and age. And it spread within hours. Everyone knew the brands that were associated with that factory, and it was a big deal. This is a really interesting company and idea, and this is a company that, it's called Crop to Cup, and they basically work with the individual coffee bean growers. And when you buy their coffee, you know the exact family that made your coffee, that grew the beans. So you get the coffee, you get a code, you go online, and you can see the family. You can see pictures of them, you know how they're doing. It's a really interesting idea, that kind of transparency. So if I could choose between this coffee and another brand, a regular coffee, I don't know, I think I'd feel pretty good about this. It's just smart. It's just an easy way to connect to people emotionally. A really good case from Saatchi in the US is Tide. So everyone remembers the Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, and people were displaced. So people, they had to leave their homes. They were living in football stadiums and gymnasiums and schools, etc., in tents, and they couldn't do their laundry. So it's fine, you have a place to sleep, you have food, but you stink, right? Like you're wearing the same old, dirty clothes. What better time to demonstrate to somebody how good it feels to wear clean clothes? And what better time to reach in and help people? Can you play the clip, please? Video?
I'm living with friends, my clothes are in the box. Things in my mind, what am I going to do about all these clothes? I live in New Orleans East, and my house had water in it for about 3 weeks, and everything smells like mold.
In times of crisis, it seems like everyone tries to do their part.
We really want to do something to help people in their everyday lives.
That's why 1 year ago, after Hurricane Katrina, Tide sent their Tide Clean Shirt team to New Orleans to wash over 10,000 loads of laundry. It is Tide's way of helping people in times of need. It is in this spirit that Tide is committed to continue helping people with this in the future.
With all of the debris, the mold, the dirt, and the mist of it all, I can still smell clean, feel clean.
This is excellent.
When you smell Tide, you smell clean.
So much hope. This will give us hope.
It's a blessing, it's a blessing.
I think this is wonderful.
Really do appreciate what you guys are doing. I'll have a great day, okay?
See you all tomorrow. Another day of a clean start.
To see how you can be a part, go to TideCleanShirt.com.
So, you know, the thing about today is, if you do something good, even for one person, a lot of people can hear about it. And this is the last piece and the most sort of pervasive piece, if you like, why being a company, a brand that people love is so important. Because there is no communication channel on earth, not buying a 30-second ad on the Super Bowl, not being on the cover of every single magazine, not being on the cover of every single newspaper, touches the power of people talking about their experiences online. They are the ultimate media channel, and that won't change anytime soon. I think it will only get more so. So if you're doing good things, and people are online going, I love this brand's great, I love it, fantastic. If you're doing bad things, you got a problem, right? The numbers for social media are astounding, right? I mean, Facebook is 1.1 billion, Twitter's about 500 million, VK is about 190 million. These are massive, massive numbers. So the power of these is well understood, but yet for some reason we don't take advantage of it. And I think the problem is we think, well, the way to do this is we'll do some sort of social media campaign or some sort of Facebook activation thing. Just do something great and they'll just talk about it, okay? I mean, this is where people share the experiences that they value, right? This is where what we call the inspirational consumers talk about their love marks. So love marks create people who love them, and we call them inspirational consumers, and they're the ones who tell other people, oh dude, you gotta buy the iPhone 5. It's unbelievable, and they won't stop talking about it, and they convince you to buy it. And all brands that are love marks have those inspirational consumers, and they go online and they talk about them. And the best way to be part of that world is to give them an experience that's worth talking about. Okay? And they will do the things they will talk about the things online that they love naturally. And I think this piece of the puzzle to me is the most obvious, but it's probably the hardest to crack as well. Because it's hard to penetrate this world, and only the really, really great things, the really, really great experiences actually get to this level and get shared. And again, it elevates the creative bar. I want to show you something that's really great, a great experience. Can you play the clip, please? Video, sorry. Can you play the video? It's the big noses. All right. It's great. It's worth waiting for. Don't worry. Waiting for that meteor to hit the building. There we go. No. You gonna play it? Give it a second. There we go.
BGH, Argentina's leading brand of air conditioners, wanted to launch its new line with 5 stages of filtered air. the air conditioners that provide the purest air in the market. So it decided to focus on the people who need clean air the most. Big noses. And it offered them important help. 25% off if you have a big nose. Now, how do you know your nose is big enough to deserve the discount? That's why we created the Nosometer. A device capable of measuring the size of a nose. If the nose reached the sensor, the discount and the AC unit were yours. The Nosometers were installed in the main retail stores of Argentina.
Como no tocó ese botón, no sonó la sirena, entonces no me dieron el descuento. Yo hasta el año pasado era así, mira. Y me operé la nariz porque creí que me iba a ir mejor en todo en la vida. Y mira cómo me va.
Hay narices perdedoras y hay narices con descuento.
The action was completely disrupted. The media spread the news immediately, and even a huge NBA celebrity with a big nose tweeted the campaign. If you thought having a big nose was a genetic curse, take a deep breath and think again. BGH air conditioners, pure air for those who need it most.
So we literally live in a world where every single piece of communication we develop is digital. Everything we do is digital. I mean, if somebody puts this video online, it's digital now. It's a digital campaign. So basically, it's about creating experiences that people love and want to participate in. That's the way you get online. That's how you turn consumers into the greatest media channel. That's easy to say. Obviously, it's much harder to do. And that's why creativity is still the most powerful tool in our business. I don't know how many people know about Rando, but this is just kind of takes the extreme as far as just sharing and people's love just to share. The way Rando works is you take a photo of anything you want and you send it out into cyberspace. You then get a notification of where it went. You find out that you took a photo and someone in Buenos Aires got it. You took a photo and somebody in Montreal got it. For every photo you send out, you get a photo. But it's random. It's not from the person you sent the photo to. It's just a photo that you get from somebody. People just want to share. They just want to send stuff out there and know that they've connected with somebody. And they just want to get something back. It's just really interesting. And I mean, I think this doesn't have any like feature, any rating feature. You send the photo, you get a photo. It's that simple. It's fantastic. All the work that I've shown so far tonight, obviously, is Saatchi work, Saatchi Fallon work. And normally we don't show stuff that's not done by Saatchi for obvious reasons. But I really wanted to show this next clip as my last clip because this contains absolutely everything, really, that you need to know about makeup. Okay, I'll talk after. Go ahead.
I like to teach the world to sing with me.
In Project Rebrief, we've reimagined Coca-Cola's classic Hilltop commercial for a modern audience in the digital age. In the spirit of the original ad, it allows users to connect with strangers by sending a Coke around the globe to an unsuspecting recipient, making the world feel just a little bit smaller. The ad can be experienced on mobile phone apps in Google's AdMob network across iOS and Android devices. Made possible through AdMob-rich media ads, coupled with custom-designed vending machines, viewers can truly buy the world of Coke with a few taps on their mobile phones. A viewer can decide where to send a Coke by selecting one of many machines located around the world, from New York City to Cape Town to Buenos Aires. They can then add a custom text message to personalize their Coke delivery. Google Translate converts these messages on the fly, breaking down the language barrier across countries. A dynamic video with Google Maps, Street View, and composite motion graphics shows the Coke's journey from the viewer's current location to the vending machine across the globe. Users can then wait for confirmation of their Coke's delivery or enter an email address to be notified later. Once the Coke is delivered, recipients are not only treated to the generosity of a stranger thousands of miles away, but they can also say thanks by sending a message of their own back to the user. That message is then delivered to the user's inbox, where they can read the note and view a video clip of the recipient's surprised reaction upon getting a free Coke. A gallery showcases some of our favorite shareable exchanges between people around the world connecting over a can of Coke. Today's technology allows us to make good on a promise Coca-Cola made over 40 years ago, and lets users buy the world of Coke from the palm of their hand.
That's all I have, guys. I hope that was interesting. I think we're gonna see if anybody wants to ask questions. And I'll save you trouble. My wife cuts my hair, so you don't have to ask that. Go ahead. Yeah?
What's happening with the museum for which Saatchi made the briquette?
Yeah.
Like the one with the big tattoo, because I also have it on my Facebook page,
Yeah.
the wow comment, and I really think it's one of the best ads of the year.
Thank you, yeah.
But do they have more visitors? Do they have more projects? What's going on?
I don't know the answer to that. To be honest, if they have more visitors, we'd have to ask them. They're extremely pleased with the reaction they've got. So they have told us that from their standpoint, it's a massive success, if for no other reason because of the amount of attention it's drawn to them. So for example, they were in risk of losing their museum, of actually losing their building and having to shut down. That's gone now. So now everybody's talking about the museum, people see and have a certain amount of love toward it as a concept, so they're safe, and now they can start to go to the next level and actually drum up business. I'm sure there are more visitors because there was pretty good awareness, but it's the beginning of the journey. The real purpose there was to get them in the news, and we succeeded in that. We did some other stuff. There was some follow-up stuff to that, and there'll be more. We're going to do more work for them. So it did serve a really strong functional purpose for them, and I don't know if there was lineups outside of the museum the next day, but overall they felt like it was useful and powerful for them. Yeah. You're welcome. Questions? Questions? Question. Behind the pole. Hey.
My question is really, really basic. Everything you talked about seems really, really, really obvious.
Yeah.
And completely
Agreed.
like, just why would you have to think about this? Why would someone need to write a book about it? So I want to go back to what you originally mentioned, that it was apparently a big controversy 10 years ago when you released it. In what way was it a controversy?
Okay. Basically, there was a couple of reactions. One was that reaction. It was said like, duh, like dude wrote a book saying that we should make people fall in love with us. What's the big deal? Why would someone bother writing a book about it? Yet, we still have to go into meetings and convince people to do it. Yet, we still tour and lecture about it and have people go, wow, that was great, and have people come up to us after and go, you know, I hadn't thought about it. So I agree with you. It is obvious. In today's environment, with all the stuff you face, what's the alternative, right? That was controversial for one reason. A lot of people said, oh, it's a big PR scam, it's a new business trick, and it's not going to last. And I think the fact that Kevin stuck with it, and we built it into everything we do at Saatchi, helped quell some of that. So when I say it was a big controversy, I don't mean it was like the front page news of the London Times, but it wasn't widely accepted at first. It really wasn't.
Okay, that makes sense, I guess. Thank you. And the other question is really, really, really superficial. The actual book I saw laying on the table over there.
This one, the new one.
Yeah, it looks like like a paper bag with like handles.
Yeah.
Why why did Saatchi and Saatchi like actually put candles in the book?
I don't know. We didn't, by the way, I should say, we didn't publish this book, right? So this is Brian's book and it's published, I assume it's published by the university. No, it's not. I don't know why. That's a good question. I agree, the cover, I shouldn't have said that on video, but I have no idea. There was no deep thought behind the cover from my understanding. It's a bag full of cases, that's why. So it should have been a suitcase.
Well, no, I mean like the red.
I know, I get it. I don't know.
It makes sense.
I don't know.
I can carry my book.
You're saying why did they actually put a string? Oh, that's a good idea. Probably too expensive, probably off budget. Yeah, no, I thought you were saying why was it a bag? I have no idea. That would have been a nice idea. We'll write that down.
So, as I figured it out, you have to be kind of brave to be a Lovemark as a brand. So, how do you handle clients who are not brave enough to be like a Lovemark?
Yeah, you do the best you can, and you don't become a Lovemark. I mean, you're right. I think you do have to be brave. I think you can get lucky. You can stumble upon a direction that isn't that scary, and it can be a Lovemark direction. But I would say if you look through the book, and most of the cases, it's like, wow, really, like for Pampers, to move away from this very functional benefit and start doing ads like that, it is brave. When you're talking about like an $8 billion brand, it's a big deal to change your advertising strategy. And most of the Lovemarks, you're right, what they do is pretty daring. So we do the same things we do with every client. We try and convince them to do the best we can, the best thing for them. Lovemarks discussions are part of pretty much everything that we do at Saatchi, meaning it's the basis for the strategies that we write for our clients. Not everyone buys into it. Not everyone thinks the time is right. Not everyone's willing to do the work that makes the leap, and they don't become Lovemarks. When we test Lovemarks, and we've done, I don't know, thousands, like 3,000 to 4,000 studies worldwide or something like that, only 2% of brands test as Lovemarks. So it's a rare group. It's a rare group because it's rare that people do work like that, right? But sadly, but that's the reality. Good question. It does come up. You know, there are people who link economic development of a market, so how rich people are, to how smart they are, right? And the way they buy things. So I faced this all the time when I worked in China as well. Oh, a lot of our customers don't have a lot of money, so you got to really sell the product. You got to tell them about the product features, right? I think it's exact opposite. I think when you can buy anything you want, you don't value most of what you buy as much. For example, mobile phones. People have emotional connections to mobile phones in places like Russia, and I don't mean the people in this room, I mean the people out in the regions that don't have a lot of nice stuff. They have a massive connection to their mobile phones, right? Way more than some rich businessman in New York, right? Because they don't have a lot of stuff in their life. So to answer your question, generally speaking, people tend to think, oh, a country of a certain level of economic development, you need to be more rational. I've never seen any research that validates that. And we have tested a lot of Lovemarks in Russia as well. Some of them I'm not going to mention because they're competitors of our clients. Some of them are our clients too. But it shouldn't matter. It comes up a lot. Yeah. There was one over here, I think. Any more questions? Okay, thank you guys. Thank you very much.